The Silver Arrows were unquestionably jolted by Lewis Hamilton's first-round elimination in qualifying for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. For the first time since the 2009 British Grand Prix, the 7-time world champion failed to qualify for Q2 on pure speed, finishing 16th. However, while he was able to recover partially and teammate George Russell finished 5th, it was far from the performance we've come to expect from the team that has dominated recent F1 history. This promoted Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff to express his displeasure, describing the team's performance as unacceptable. So what did Wolff say? And how is Mercedes planning to make a comeback? Mercedes' difficult start to the season continued as George Russell finished 5th at the Jeddah Corniche circuit, while teammate Lewis Hamilton recovered from his first Q1 knockout in over 4 years to finish P10. Following his 10th place finish, Hamilton asked Mercedes engineer Pete Bonington if there was even a point for that position. After the race, the 7-time world champion stated that Mercedes was still far behind Red Bull and Ferrari, who held the top 4 positions in both qualifying and the race. Mercedes F1 chief Toto Wolff admitted after the race that while the lead battle between Red Bull and Ferrari was good news for F1, not being part of it was difficult for the team after winning 8 consecutive constructors' titles. I love competition, and I've always loved competition. We had a really strong run of 8 years where we were leading the pack. Not always, but we kind of managed our way into the lead. This time for me feels a little bit like 2013, where we just weren't up to the speed with Red Bull and probably also not with the Ferrari, but we keep fighting, and this is how I feel at the moment. We need to fight. It is certainly totally unacceptable where we are on performance. We're 3rd on the road, sometimes not, even like today. It's just not an option to stay where we are. Mercedes is already 40 points behind Ferrari at the top of the Constructors' Championship and just 1 point ahead of Red Bull, which did not score any points in the season opener in Bahrain. The root of Mercedes' problems is the extreme porpoising of the W13 car, which was discovered during pre-season testing and has yet to be fully understood or remedied. Russell stated after the race that the porpoising was to blame for the majority of their problems and that the team has been taking baby steps to address the issue. There's so many factors to play between the mechanical stiffness of the car and then the stiffness of the floors, the design of the floors, tyre pressures, engine mode as well. The faster you go, the worse it gets. So it makes it harder for qualifying because we turn the engines up, maximise power, go quicker down the straight, which causes more downforce and causes more porpoising. So we almost need to preempt this issue, and also in the race, when you have the DRS closed, you have more downforce than you do with the DRS open, and that's another factor we need to consider. We're still learning, and that's why we're far from optimal, but that's why I said if we solve the porpoising, that would cure, I would say, 99% of our issues. While George revealed that the porpoising is the main culprit, Wolff was hesitant to estimate how Mercedes would compare to Red Bull and Ferrari once the problem was solved, owing to the team's inability to fully assess the W13's capabilities. We're not running the car where we wanted to run it, therefore it's very difficult to really assess what the lap time deficit is if we were able to run the car lower. I would very much hope that the gap is much closer to what we've seen today, but there are deficits everywhere. However, while the 24-year-old performed better than teammate Lewis Hamilton, who crashed out of Q1, he admitted the team is not in a position to compete at the moment. We're not here to be battling for P5 or P6. It was a very difficult day for the team. The car is on a knife edge, and getting it in the right window is so difficult. Lewis and I went down a different set of routes, and clearly it didn't work out. As a team, it's a bit of a shame. From a personal side, I would definitely have been pleased with P5. I was just half a tenth away. But that's just where we are at the moment. It's tricky because we're putting all of our effort into this porpoising issue, and it's not allowing us to focus on other things. All of our emphasis is on solving this issue, and we've got work to do. The only way to run is to raise the car very high, and we lose all of the downforce. We know if you get the car on the ground, there's a huge chunk of lap time there, but we can't achieve that at the moment. Setup changes were made to reduce porpoising during the season opening race weekend and in Saudi Arabia, and Mercedes trackside engineering director Andrew Chauvelin admitted the team was focusing on damage limitation for the moment. According to Mercedes Chief Technical Officer Allison, who spoke in the company's post-race debrief video, resolving its porpoising problem will be critical to the team's championship fate. We were caught out by it quite badly, and the porpoising on our car, especially when we put our first race upgrade package on it in the last winter test, the amount of porpoising we saw has been quite extreme. We're starting to get it under control, but at the moment we're getting it under control a little bit by having to throw away a bit of basic performance of our car as a smaller problem in order to get the bigger problem, the uncontrollable bouncing, slightly under our control. In the coming weeks, with the massive pressure on us to make sure we deliver this quickly, we will find improvements that get on top of the bouncing while not throwing away the underlying performance of the car in order to do so. We can't afford to wait to deliver those solutions. We are hard at work back at the factory to find them, make them, get them to the car and enjoy the benefits of them. Hopefully start to realise some of the inherent goodness that we have built into this car, which should put us back to where we want to be, at the front end of the grid. But while disappointment may be Mercedes' new currency, some in the team believe the manufacturer will be able to dig itself out of its hole sooner rather than later. James Allison is one such person, estimating the team's deficit to be similar to the 0.6 second gap in Bahrain qualifying, smaller than he feared after pre-season testing, but insisting that the team has solutions for all of the car's issues, providing an optimistic deadline of 2 to 3 races. All of those solutions are within our compass to deliver. Yes, it's challenging, but after actually winter testing, I feared worse. And actually, I think the performance improvement we've managed to deliver from winter testing to the first race, while perhaps not visible to the fans, and perhaps not reassuring to the fans, is reassuring in-house here at the team. What we have ahead of us, the way in which we're approaching the problems, the way in which we bring solutions, also gives me comfort that we will get back to a competitive car quite swiftly, and we're able to pursue the objective we have of championships. We intend to put these problems right as quickly as possible, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 races. But in any case, we will put it right and we'll get our car at the front competing to allow us to pursue our dream of championship success. While the Mercedes team's inability to resolve their issues was obvious, the gap between the two drivers was unexpected. Struggling to get the most out of the troublesome W13, Hamilton found himself on the verge of the drop zone as Q1 came to a close, nearly a second behind teammate George Russell. Hamilton had expressed surprise at Russell's pace in the sister car, particularly in the first sector of the lap, and had attempted a double flyer run late in the race in an attempt to qualify for Q2. Hamilton set a personal best on his final lap to move into 15th place and out of the elimination zone, only to be passed by Aston Martin's Lance Stroll moments later. Hamilton admitted in the paddock that he struggled behind the wheel after falling at the first qualifying hurdle, implying that the setup strategy he chose prior to qualifying played a role in his Q1 exit. I just struggled with the balance of the car. It's not where we want to be. We unfortunately just probably went the wrong way with the setup. And Toto Wolff backs up his claims. We tried something on Lewis's car that did not work. He had zero grip on the rear axle. Time to wake up for us. The Silver Arrows undoubtedly face what seems an insurmountable challenge in the 2022 season, with their porpoising issues being the most pressing as we enter the 1-week break. Mercedes will undoubtedly have to work twice as hard to solve their problems, but Formula One's new regulations present another challenge, as the team will have less time in the wind tunnel and CAD. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos. Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below. What are your thoughts on Mercedes' problems in Saudi Arabia, particularly Lewis Hamilton's Q1 knockout? Do you think James Allison's 2 to 3 race schedule is too optimistic? We'd love to hear what you think.